Welcome to another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 35-year-old from Dumfries, Scotland. His hockey journey has taken him to England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. Broke in with the Milton Keynes Lightning, winning back-to-back league titles and back-to-back-to-back playoff championships in the EPIHL. Then ran amok with the Solway Sharks with a 50-goal and 48-game season. And then stepped up and ran amok in the EIHL with the Edinburgh Capitals with 47 points and 52 games played. And folks, that's after 2 gold medals with Team GB in the under 18s and under 20s. His journey has had him lace up in about 650 EIHL games with pretty much every Scottish team in the league. And he's now with the Fife Flyers, or was. And there's a good chance nobody's going to be able to understand him because it looks like he's actually Scottish. Welcome to the shed, Bari McKenzie.
Thanks for having me, man. Some people would like to say I'm what you'd call a suitcase.
A suitcase? No, you kept it in Scotland lately.
No, lately, yeah. I've settled down. I can't travel as far.
Yeah, I have here the only time out of Scotland since 2008 was to play for the Devils in 2012 in Manchester. That's the only time you ventured out of Scotland.
Yeah. I still hold the record for the most elite league teams played with, so hopefully that's a record that doesn't get broken.
Hey, that's good. I guess, yeah, that sounds like you're.
Well, look at the bright side. At least when I stopped playing hockey, people are like, remember that guy that played for all those teams? Yeah, that's me.
You're a podcaster's dream then, eh? Because then every fan base will want to hear.
Exactly.
I get into how we know each other, and I guess we don't. Nice to meet you.
No, we don't. I've seen you a couple of times around Cardiff drunk when you came back, and
oh, really?
That was quite funny. That was well, I can't remember what it was. You came back to Cardiff when the Devils were playing the Flyers this season, and you ended up in the stands with your top off, and yeah, that was quite funny. That was amusing. So
I did see that you were on that squad because I just talked with Scott Arson a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned he was on that team. So I was thinking you only saw like the business casual Brent that came out and like dropped the puck and waved to the crowd, kiss the baby. So I guess I forgot that I was thinking about the pregame speech. You guys wouldn't have known what had just happened before that. So I guess we would have seen each other that night.
We played against each other a few times as well.
Well, that's right. That was 2014-15. You were at the Dundee Stars. So I would have played against you that year. That's how I remembered you. And then the Clan you were with the next year. So you were with Finner and all those boys.
Oh yeah, that was a good team. That was a fun season for sure.
So how did you find out about the shed? How'd you, because I know you were followed and that's how I reached out. So how'd you find out about this?
Just because you've been doing a lot of British based players. I've seen you then. Do you do Stephen Meyer? Mm-hmm. You do Mizey?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Mizey because obviously just different guys that I played with who have done it as well. And, I jumped on. It was quite funny. So,
well, thanks for coming on because I love doing it. It makes my days better.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're doing, and to pump your tires, you are doing a good job of it, in fairness.
Oh, well, thanks. I try my best.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
But anyways, the other way we know each other. So that's how people get to know about the shed is you got to share this shit. Share the stuff so people find out about it because that's the only way. Because I don't have a marketing team or a sales team. We're just doing
share the love. Share the love.
So Batchy said, okay,
right.
The Cardiff Devils D-Man of the Year, folks. Batchy wrote and said, you have to ask him about the time he slept over at mine and Biz Nasty's house.
Oh man, so yeah, it was the ladies' night, and yeah.
Silly event, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, who likes those? And like me, G, Max, Biz, we all left early. Went to Asda and get like 24 hours. Went and got booze. Went back to the house and kept on drinking. And then in the morning, I woke up with like my bow tie on and sleeping next to Deeds in the bed. I was like, "How did I get here?" I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And it was just thankfully it was Deeds in the bed and nobody else, I suppose.
So you slept over at their house and you woke up with just a bow tie in Deeds' bed. Shed guy.
Yeah, Deeds. with Deeds. Oh, good guy.
Yeah, I think he just retired. Yeah.
I think so. It was funny when I signed in Cardiff, I was meant to stay with Batchy and Deeds, but I ended up living with Max. So I mean, all great guys. And that was a fun team that year. Just unfortunately, I didn't last the season, but no, there's definitely a lot of good stories from Cardiff. That's for sure.
Yeah, I have some questions why you wouldn't have stuck there, but
Right, go for it.
well, I don't know, because you said you had 10 points in 17 games.
It was a funny one. You know when you're playing, you just know the writing's on the wall for what's going to happen. That was the year that Richie left and went to Kazakhstan, and there was rumblings he was coming back. And as soon as the rumblings, I was like,
They need to make room for Richie.
Yeah, pretty much. And you know what? Richie's an absolute legend and a great guy, and you just respect him for doing that. But as soon as it happened, I kind of knew. I was like, just deep down I knew. And there was games that I wasn't even like, even though I played 17 games, there's games I wasn't even playing. Like I wouldn't even get a shift. So like my point per games I actually played was really good, and
because that's a weird time, because that was the year before you had 47 points in 52 games in the EIHL.
Yeah, like. I was actually the third top British scorer in the league, and there's a few teams that wanted me that like for that season, and I chose Cardiff. Obviously, going down, seeing the city and everything, it looked amazing. And yeah, like when I was in Edinburgh, I didn't really like take the off ice stuff very seriously. So like when I went down to Cardiff, they just try to change everything about me. And I'm like, well, you knew what I was when they signed me. Like, oh, you're not fit enough. I was like, I'm fitter now than I was last year. I was like, just let me play, like without kind of being big headed. Like just because I'm not really a person like a guy. Don't like going to the gym. I don't like going to the gym, but I don't really.
Preach,
like
baby.
To have fun
Preach.
off the ice.
Talk to me.
I like to have,
I knew I was gonna like you.
you know what? You only have one career. You got to make the most of it. But see, when I'm on the ice, I'm on practice, I'll give 100%. Like I will work. I'll be the hardest working player. But I think it was just everything around it. Like you're not going to the gym. You're not trying. I was like, well, I am trying, but just I mean, it's just like I don't know. I know I did play well. I got hurt, and then it just snowballed. And Richie came back, and then it was just. It was one of those things,
Yeah, I was confused because it looked like you were running amok there and you were really coming into your own. And then all of a sudden, halfway through, you weren't in the EIHL anymore, which that would suck for your confidence moving forward too, right? Because
massively. I was just like, when G gave me the old phone call, and I was like, yeah, I know what's happening. Because I was hurt for maybe 3 weeks prior to getting released, and I knew it was coming. And you're just like, right, okay, here it goes. And it happened, and he just said, yeah, you're not trying hard enough, like off the ice, you're out of shape. I'm like, mate, I'm in better shape than I was last year, sort of thing. But you respect their decision. At the end of the day, he's a coach, and you gotta respect
and
it.
They tough. Always, if they got to make room for Richie, they're gonna make room for Richie, right?
Like, of course, yeah. It doesn't matter who you
and are. He's the captain now, and he's been there forever.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
exactly. And the thing is, like,
it sucks that it's got to be you though, like because there are other guys that could have been, right, and that's when it sucks. It always sucks when those things happen in hockey, and yeah,
especially the thing was in that team that year, a lot of them were local. I was really the only one from out of town, including Batchy, but Batchy was there. Like Batchy's Batchy, he's always got to be there. So I was like kind of not the outcast, but I was like the new guy on the block coming in, and if it was me going,
the easiest one to get rid of, really.
Last in, first out kind of thing. Which what it is. What it is. It's I don't hold any regrets about anything in my career. It's everything happens for a reason, and I bounced back from it. It sucked at the time, like you say, but hey, such is life, man.
Yeah, and those business decisions sometimes happen. Because I was curious about it, because it looked like you were doing your part after switching to Cardiff out of Edinburgh. So
like I was playing top two lines. I was playing well, and then it's what it is.
I understand.
It's what it is.
Well, Batchy told me your nickname there for a bit was there was Biz Nasty on the team, and you were Baz Nicely. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so.
It's pretty wild. If you would have known him back then, like I remember playing in the Coast against Biz, and like he was a showman out there. But it's wild to see what's going on in that guy's life, eh? Like he's like he's the biggest star in hockey.
He's done. Oh, unbelievable! I was listening at work there, listening to the Chicklets episode with Gretzky, and like like it was Gretzky's like saying, "I'm not doing the job on TV if it's not for you." And like you could never imagine that. You knew he was a bit of a showman, but like the life that he's made for himself, like you have to give him massive respect for doing that.
Especially after I was playing against him in Wheeling, and like he was like in his second year pro, and you're like, oh, this is a toiling guy that is just making a show of the East Coast. But for then the next year he's in the AHL, then he's got the Twitter following, he's in the NHL, and man, the way he just gives her, right? And he acts like
he
himself.
Just says he acts like himself. He says what he thinks, which a lot of people don't get away with. But he's one of the guys that can just say what he wants and does get away with it, which I think is unbelievable. Fair play to him.
Yeah, no, he must be proud of everything he's accomplished, because it's pretty impressive seeing it from like our side, right? That see him before it all happens. Anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so where and what are you doing now? You just changed the diaper.
I did. I've got a new
you
son.
Time yourself to see how fast you can do it, or no?
Sometimes it's good. I actually got pooed on the other day, which was a bit tough. I was getting ready to go to work, and he put. Yeah, but the best thing was, so he pooed on me, so I went and washed my hands and a wee bit of my top. So I said to my wife, "Can you just watch him for 2 minutes?" Because she was in the middle of getting changed. Went back, and he just looked at me laughing, and then he peed on me. So I'm like, God. So I was like late for work, and I had to obviously try and explain to them why I was late, and they were just laughing at me. But you know what? It's amazing. It's great. It is life changing. You know.
Oh.
So
how fresh is it? You got a son? Pretty fresh one.
Yeah,
no?
Son. Yeah. 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
So
and you're making time for the shed. Say thanks to the wife.
Yeah, I will do. She's got my dinner ready for me when I finish as well.
Well,
she's a good one. She's a good one.
Well, good for her. So tell her thank you from me and the shed, and everybody that's going to listen. But one thing, word of advice from a guy that's been around. I know you're 7 weeks in, so you probably understand this. But as soon as you open up that diaper and that little pecker sees daylight, it pees, man. It's like it
does.
Right up and right at you. I notice you got to open it, give it some air, and then shut it, right?
Close it. Yeah. And he smiles at you as well. He knows he's doing it. He just laughs at you, smiles, and just pee all over you. Yeah. What a life, eh?
Well, and it's like when you're carrying them around, and then they kind of give you that face, and then you can tell like they're pooing in your arm in the diaper, and your arm gets warm.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had that a few times.
It's weird. I remember those days. Now my kids are like, it's weird how fast it all happens, man. And that's one of my exciting news for today then is the jersey I'm wearing right now that was signed by my under 11 Concardant Canucks team was just won via raffle to a shed guy, to Jack Moak, my setterman. And we never did captains and assistants this year. But if we would have, looking back on the season, he would have probably been my choice for captain. Very mature kid, loved the game. And he probably was the most improved player on our team because he had missed through COVID. And now he's a hockey guy. And I tell you, this jersey going to him and the Devils banner, it's the perfect kid to win the raffle. So good pick, Raffle. Right? So anyways, that's going to help pay for, I got them all custom mini sticks, 2 ales and hockey tales, names, numbers. So
I love that. Nice.
So thanks everybody for buying tickets. We made about just enough to cover the bill. So thank you. Okay. So you got a fresh one, but you also said you're working. Like what are you working
Yes, I am. So I build like loudspeakers, like music speakers. So it's a company just based outside of Glasgow. So it's quite handy, you know, they're really good with me, especially like with the hockey and, you know, bouncing both the jobs and stuff like that. So it's a company called Gallo Acoustic. They actually sponsored me this year.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's enjoyable. It's interesting. It's good. And obviously you're building like kind of custom music speakers for some famous people. And, you know, it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It gives you at least a start in the real world for when this is all over, right?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I've been doing this for about a year and a half. But when I played in Glasgow, I used to always go back to Dumfries, where I'm from originally, in the summers. But when I met my now wife, we stayed in Glasgow for the summer, so I had to kind of get a job. So the company it was a sponsor of the clan, and so they got me this job actually. So I've been working for a few years. I'm just getting you. I'm used to it now. You know, you just have to just balance both of them.
So you're actually
and
building the speakers.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. So then you just finished with Fife then. So you guys didn't make the playoffs, right?
No, we did not.
So,
No.
so then I just saw the first round happened or whatever. So, okay, give me your playoff predictions for this weekend coming up.
Oh, you know, I would love Dundee to win. You know, I know they're Fife's rivals, but they're the Scottish team kind of out there.
The low budget team. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Seeing a team like that win is always cool, right? Because
you know what they've done great to get by Sheffield. They've done phenomenal. The Clan were unlucky against Cardiff as well. And again, Coventry were unlucky against Belfast, but I think Belfast are just going to be too strong. I think they're an absolute wagon of a team. I think they are the best team in the league by a fair distance this year. And
so what is it that makes them so good? I haven't really had any of them in the shed.
To be honest with you, they've got good goalkeeping, solid defensively. Like they're just top to bottom, just stacked
deep. Yeah.
You know, they really are. They're just a deep team. When they have guys missing, like it makes no difference to them.
I always do. I remember back when I was playing, there would be teams, right? When you even when you go to Scotland or whatever, there'd be a couple players when you got them on the ice. You're like, this is the time to take advantage, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they probably don't have that.
No, like I mean, even like the last game, I think in the league they played against Sheffield, they had a line of young Irish guys and they still beat them. You know, they are just good. They're just very good, and they've recruited well this year. And I think they'll be just too strong for the other four teams that's got to be there.
All right. Well, you know, I found it interesting, right? There's the Cardiff thing where they got past the Clan. I guess their goalie, Matt Carruth, has now signed in Denmark for next year, right? And they do have and they have two import goalies. So I was curious who they're going to play, right? Because obviously the guy's a competitor and he wants to win, and they played him. And they're losing going onto the road, and I see he gets a shutout. So legs and eggs, right?
Absolutely.
That's a pro.
Yeah, he's a good goalie. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and nobody wants to lose. Doesn't matter where you're going the next year, right? It's just weird when you can sign with different teams when it's still going on.
Especially they announced it when he's still playing.
Right. Yeah, it's exciting times.
Yeah. 2022 for you.
But I honestly, I wouldn't bet against him in 2 games, like that goalie, the competitor he is. I wouldn't bet against him being able to pull it off against Belfast. So there's that.
I think it'll be another Cardiff Belfast final as well.
Yeah. And
anywho. Yep.
Okay. So when would chats start about next year then, if your season's over? You got anything cooking?
Yeah. I think I've already spoke to Fife. You know, we had obviously quite close to the coach, and he knows my what I want to do, and kind of know what he wants to do. And you know, where I am at my career right now, I think I'd only go back to Fife. We live here in Glasgow. Fife's it's very handy. It's an hour up the road. So you know, Fife been great to me as well. And I think just for me right now, I think if I don't go to Fife, then I'd probably just call it a day. But I don't want to do that.
Well, you're not very good with your bargaining chips, man. You're really putting it all out there for them. Now they know. Hometown discount. Don't give it to them. Be loyal to them, right?
No. They're loyal. They're loyal. But no, they know that. Like, you know what? There's no point in me like kind of bullshitting them. They know exactly what's like. They know how it is. I'm not going to hide anything. If they want me to come back, which they do, and then great. And if they don't, then you just need to.
So then you live in Glasgow, but then the rest of the team would be living in Fife. Is that right?
Yeah. So Craig Peacock, he lives in Glasgow as well. So we travel up together.
Okay. Yeah. I remember playing against him. He was a competitor. Yeah. Skilled left-handed shot, power play guy.
That's him. Yeah. So we travel up together. We obviously spend a lot of time together, and it's been nice this year having somebody to travel up and down the road with, because the last 2 years I was just traveling up and down myself. So I can obviously, I was pushing him to come to Fife with me, and thankfully Fife got me come across, and then so it's helped me a wee bit as well with the driving.
For sure. Do you find it hard to when like the team's getting together on a day off and you're up in Glasgow? Do you find it hard to?
Not really. If I was
Especially
25,
with a
not 30,
7-week-old, you ain't going nowhere,
yeah,
big guy.
no, I know. So, do you know what? On a Thursday night, we practice late on a Thursday night, then early on a Friday morning. So I stay over in Kirkcaldy on a Thursday night.
I've learned about
which I've
this. So
always
it's Kirkcaldy in the Kingdom of Fife, right?
a Fife. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. I
So
knew I've learned so much in my shed.
so yeah, like they so yeah, like I mean, obviously when you're young and single, you want to do all the partying and have fun and be there all with everything. But when you're obviously you'll know yourself when you have a kid, it changes everything. And obviously being married now, I've kind of done it all and I've enjoyed it. I've had fun, but I don't don't get me wrong. There's times at nights I'll go after work and I'll go and meet the guys and stuff if they're through in Edinburgh. But I don't really make a habit of it and always kind of take my car because I'm always working the next day. Responsibilities,
Yeah, I do know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Fife, you played there this year. May as well stick on that. Or you've been there now for 3 seasons, eh? And that's with the season off. But what a great barn that is. I love it.
Best in the league. See when it's full, it's such an advantage to us. Like away teams hate coming to play in it. And what, like they always they want to do is get the game over and get home. We've beat a lot of good teams in that barn, and it's like I said, when it's noisy, it's the best place to play.
Oh, I remember it would be packed when we would come from Cardiff, and man, they would yell at you. They would yell things at you.
They certainly don't hold back with the old P's and Q's and the teeth falling out and everything. They're absolutely bonkers.
Speaking of your Scottish accent, I remember back when I was playing, I didn't know anything about Twitter. Cardiff had mentioned, hey, you should get Twitter. It's good for marketing and people to get to know you. So then when I had it, we went up to Scotland. I think we were in Braehead, and I tweeted something like, I thought the Welsh and English accents were pretty hard, but the Scottish, I can't understand a lick of what they're saying. And yeah, I got a lot of people right back to me, but I still think Scottish is hardest for me to understand. And then the Irish.
Do you know what? See, sometimes when I go up to Kirkcaldy, I don't even understand them.
So there's different dialects within Scotland.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like when I'm there's a boy from Fife in our team, and he talks. I'm like, what did you just say? Like, I do not have a clue what he said.
Well, it's kind of like Bouncy in England, right? Nobody knows what that guy's saying either. But okay. Well, speaking of Scottish, then, have you ever heard of a moo-off?
No.
Really?
A moo-off, like the cows.
Right. But yeah, I've said this before. I don't know who I told this to, but so Trevor Hendricks was running hockey schools in Scotland. I'm not sure which town, maybe Paisley or something. But anyways, he's running a hockey school. Game's tied. He's like, well, what should we do? Shootout, overtime. And the kids said, let's have a moo-off. And Hendo was like, what's this? And he sent me the videos of these kids doing a moo-off, and they get on their hands and knees and face each other and moo at each other. And the first person to laugh loses.
Oh, for goodness. That's
you've never heard of that
for me. No.
So this isn't a thing that's in Scotland that's going on that the kids are doing.
Well, maybe the kids, but I've never heard of it.
Well, it was happening. So
Trevor, Big Red, he was a good teammate.
Yeah, where did you play with him? In Braehead then?
In Glasgow, yeah. He was one of the stories I remember about. We done our Halloween fancy dress, and he came with what is it? What's his wife's name?
Laura. Who was expecting their second.
Number 2,
yeah.
So they were dressed up as Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber, right? So Hendo was the big orange suit, and he was absolutely hammered. We're at the Bavaria, falls off the bench.
No way.
No. Yeah. He was like, I think he gave himself concussion, right? So we were like, all right. We're like, mate, you gotta go home. So Laura taking him home. About an hour later, I don't know if you've been over to Soar. Have you been over to Soar where like all the food and the cinema and stuff is?
Nope. I don't think so.
It's in Braehead, where the ski slope is in Braehead.
Oh yeah, I've seen it just driving into the arena, but I didn't go in there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's where we were. So about an hour later, we're walking out, we're going home. Here's Big Red sitting on a bench in the middle of Soar, just snoring. we were like in his big orange suit. Like the kids were coming out of the cinema, they must have been petrified. It was, oh man, it was hilarious.
Oh, what a guy. That's awesome. Dumb and Dumber, eh? And then he falls asleep in the mall after
Gives himself
concussing
concussion 'cause he was
himself.
hammered.
Oh, Trevor. Okay. So you grew up in Dumfries, Scotland? I don't know Scotland very well. Where's Dumfries?
Dumfries is just right in the south, right on the border with England.
Oh, okay. And it's small, big?
Yeah, small town. So the team Solway that I played for. So their team Solway.
Oh, okay.
That's their team. They don't. Yeah. So I just like the seasons you see when I was at Solway. That's when I just went home. I just went home and played.
You're at home in Dumfries.
Yeah.
So then, wait. Okay, but growing up though, how do you get into hockey?
My dad's originally from Glasgow, and he used to obviously skate in the old Glasgow rink and stuff. And then, when my dad moved out to Dumfries for work, and the ice rink in Dumfries opened just around the corner from my house. So as soon as it opened, that was me. He was just basically thrown on. So kind of never looked back from there.
Yeah, you just got into it and it was took it from there. So then you
Yeah.
grow up playing for Solway. Then that's your youth team. So who does Solway play then? You play the other Scottish towns then?
Yeah, just Scottish towns. But then when I was 15, I moved away to America to play and do some schooling there. So that really helped my
research team didn't
development.
find that. So where did you go? And who connected you? How did you get there?
So I went to a sports academy in Florida called IMG.
Really?
Yes. So we went like a family holiday, and for one of the weeks we were going to go. Mum and Dad, like, do you want to go for hockey school? I'm like, yeah, why not? And then the second week we're going to do parks and stuff like that. So I obviously went and done the camp, and they asked me to come back. And when they asked me to come back to do like the schooling and everything like that and play for their team, they basically threw out a stupid figure. It's like, it's got to cost you X amount a year. And we were just like, no chance. And late August time, they came back with a scholarship package. So I was there for 2 years and really enjoyed it.
So you went on a family trip to Florida and then you did a hockey school while you were there? Is that how it happened? Why were you?
Yep.
That's how it happened.
Yeah.
And then they gave you a scholarship to go there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
different.
That's very different.
So
you must have impressed in your camp though.
Oh yeah, I must have. But yeah, and so I was meant to fly out on September the 13th, I think it was.
And then you're 15 years old then, flying across the world to go to school on your own then.
Yes, but it was I was meant to fly out 2 days after the Twin Tower incident.
Right.
So obviously being 15, that happening, I was petrified. So my flight got pushed back because obviously nobody was allowed in and out of New York, which I was meant to fly to get my connecting flight down to Tampa. And like I was sitting there the night before, like, I don't want to go. My mom and dad like, you're going. I was like, okay. Then, I loved it. Best decision I made.
So you were living in Florida then?
I was, yeah.
And what kind of school is it? Is a hockey academy? Like you're just doing hockey in school?
So yeah, it was a sports academy. So they have it was in Sarasota. So they had basketball, baseball, golf, tennis. So like Maria Sharapova, the tennis player, she was there, and there's a lot of good golfers, and the American under 15 national team was there for football, soccer. There's a soccer academy and stuff like that. So no, it was really good. It's an amazing.
What was the hockey like?
The first year, I was only playing bantam. I like Florida hockey, and to be honest, it was pretty shit. So but it was mostly just trying to develop and learn and stuff like that. And the second year I went back and we played midget AAA.
So you living in like a dorm? Like you living in a big building with all the other students?
Yes, the first year it was a dorm, and the second year I actually stayed with a family, just off campus. So
you'd have grown up quick moving all the way over there on your own, no?
Big time. Yeah, absolutely. Big time. It was it definitely made me grow up.
Makes me think like that's only 5 years from now for my kid. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Could you imagine? Like, see you later.
Yeah, smell ya.
Nah. So yeah, the second year was good. We got to the national fight championship and stuff like that. We had a really good team. And the third year I was meant to go back, and they actually cancelled the program. I don't know why. I think it's probably because they were giving out too many scholarships.
Not enough people paying the ridiculous amounts.
I think that's what it was, because there was a lot of talk. I know this sounds crazy now, but there's a lot of talk of Sidney Crosby coming before he went to Shattuck and stuff like that. Because it was there's a lot of like.
Well, if
American,
Sharapova and that level of athlete is going for different
well,
sports, then they're trying to get that for
where
hockey, probably.
yeah, that's where like the Williams sisters went, and Cam Newton went there. The list is huge of sports, like
Really?
sports megastars now that went there. Yeah,
And you were in the dorms with them?
absolutely. I was just with the hockey guys.
Okay.
I was just with the hockey guys, and to be honest with you, Sharapova didn't stay on campus. I think because she was obviously a big thing there and then, so she stayed off campus and she'd just come on to do her tennis lessons and stuff like that. But you seen her walking about, like it was like she was just a normal person's walking around, and that was pretty cool. And
most famous people are just normal people once you get to know them, right?
Well, that's very true. That's very true.
Well, that's really cool. I would have never guessed that you did all that. Missed that on the intro too. So hockey journey took him to the USA too, folks. So then after it folds, then you're scrambling or what? You find out in the off season or what?
Yeah, I was. I didn't really know what to do. It was a kind of like, all right, what am I going to do now? And then that's when Milton Keynes came in for me. Because I did get offers to go back to like maybe like teams in Nashville and different like maybe prep schools, but it was going to cost my parents too much money, and I just said no. Like I couldn't do it. They'd already done so much for me. Like because we're based in Florida, we had to travel every month or every couple of weeks to go to tournaments and play games, and it was just stacking up. And I just couldn't do it. So that's when Milton Keynes came in for me, and I went down to Milton Keynes.
Okay, so yeah, that's good. They step up. So then you're moving to England then when you get back, or I guess you never left that summer. You moved down to Milton Keynes then.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I was playing. So they put me on a two-way. I think with Basingstoke my first year.
But you did play one game with Basingstoke in the EIHL,
I did,
right?
yes. I did, yes. In the second year, I was on a two-way with Coventry, and I played a bit more there.
Yeah.
And then my third year, I went down. I wasn't playing great. I think I didn't really train during the summer. I just kind of had fun, and it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, and I wasn't playing too well. And at Christmas time, I just said, right, I'm done, and I went back to America again.
Okay, well, I got more questions though, but you guys were good the first year there in Milton Keynes. You guys win it the first 2 years you're there.
We were very good. Yeah, we were very, very good. We had a very good team that year. Like when nobody could keep up with us, to be honest with you.
And they do it the same where it's the league championship. So you guys won it, you ran away with it, but then you also won the playoffs. So what's your role on the team? What type of minutes are you playing?
I was playing quite a bit, to be honest with you. Not as much the first year. I think it was third line the first year, because obviously I was just young. But I was playing. It was only 3-line hockey, so I was just constantly playing. And then the second year, I was playing a bit more. My points production went up a bit more. And then my third year, they had planned for me to play more, but then obviously that backfired because I didn't exactly do anything during the summer. It kind of backfired.
So you were really out of shape? Like you were like fat?
Yeah.
It says you got 2 assists in 20 games in the EPIHL.
That's why I had a life decision and said, right, I need to go away and get myself sorted.
Get serious about it a bit more, eh? Because
absolutely.
Okay, so then your first few EIHL games, how old were you? Your first one there with Basingstoke? Yeah, to have been
17.
Young. Yeah. 17. So how was that? Your first game in the EIHL, 17-year-old? Did you play much?
It wasn't. Yeah, I did. It wasn't that bad actually, because they played against Edinburgh, and Edinburgh weren't very good then, so it wasn't actually that bad, to be honest with you. And then the following year, I played in Coventry. I played a bit more, and that was more of a step up. And and I developed a lot there in the two-way, and like just training with Coventry and stuff like that. That really helped me develop as a player.
Yeah. Okay. So then you do your 3 years in Milton Keynes, and you said then you go back to that. Actually, no. Before we go on to that, I want to know about your under 18s with Team GB, making Team GB the first time. That must have been fun, eh?
Yeah, it was. It was good. Lithuania. We won the gold medal. I mean, I think we were favourites going into the tournament. And we played Lithuania in the last game to win the gold, and that was a good experience. Like, I mean, anytime you represent your country, it doesn't matter if it's
Especially
like
your
under
first time.
18s.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what age it is.
Yeah,
Represent your country.
yeah, absolutely.
For sure. So there's a guy on that team I've never heard of. Tom Carlin, the research team found. 5 games played in that tournament, 10 goals and 14 points. The next guy on the team had 6 points.
Yeah, Tom Carlin sticks in the Hockey Hall of Fame, I believe, actually, after that tournament.
14 points in 5 games, and the next guy on your team had 6 points. How did he have so much more than the next guy? That's wild.
He was a good player. He was a big boy. He was a big boy. He was a good player. Then
the research team looked him up, and it says he played for the Abu Dhabi Storm in 2014 to 16 in the UAE League.
Yeah, he did. He played for Milton Keynes, and like he played lots of like games in the EPL and stuff like that. And I don't know why he went to Dubai. I don't know if it was for work. I don't know, but he's back now. I know he's back, and he lives in Milton Keynes, I believe now. He doesn't play. I think he maybe just plays like for fun. But he was a very good player growing up.
Yeah, he must have been. Like, you're on that team. Richie's on the team, and the guy that finished second in scoring, I was on his podcast, Nicky Watt.
Yep, Nicky Watt.
Yeah, the 4,000 counting boy. So, okay. Anyways, so you go. Let's get back on track here then. You also won the World Juniors too, or the under 20s, I guess you'd call it, right?
Yeah. That was in Romania. That was good as well. But see, in our group we had like Australia and New Zealand, so they were games you're winning like 20-0,
Really?
and then they were junk. And then we'd play, who did we play? Romania. We played against Holland, and we played against, I can't remember the last team. But Holland gave us a good game. I remember we beat them 3-1. But yeah, it was
just a round robin then. The most points move on. There's no like final game you got to win.
No, there was nothing like that.
There was nothing like that. That's not hockey.
Yeah.
Okay. Then moving on. You go back to I guess North America. This is after your 3 years in Milton Keynes. So you're what, about 19?
Yeah, I went back to Fargo. I went to the NHL.
Fargo?
I went. Yeah,
it says the Ristigouche Tigers.
I know. I was actually meant to go there, and then I don't know why, but I changed and I went to Fargo. I went in December, and then I done half a season there, and I was meant to go back the following year, but they were like, "Oh, you got to finish school. You got to do this. You got to do that," and I didn't finish school, so I was like, so that just kind of.
So you were in Fargo playing in like in a junior league?
Yeah.
So you lived in Fargo.
Yeah.
Where's that again?
North Dakota.
Yeah. You went to school there then? You did high school and stuff?
No, I didn't. No. I didn't, because obviously I when I went to Milton Keynes, I just didn't do any school, and so like I technically left school when I was 17 and just didn't do anything. And then they wanted me to go back and finish my high school, and I just said no.
So then you play there for the year or whatever. Were you guys any good in Fargo?
Yeah, we were okay. Yeah, good team. We had a really good group of guys. It was fun. It was good. And I was, like I said, I was meant to go back, but I just didn't go back.
So then you're one of the British guys playing junior hockey in North America. So then when you move home after that year, was there any bites from the EIHL teams? Because it says you went back to play for the Solway Sharks, which doesn't look like much of a challenge for you. You had 54 points in 17 games.
No. Well, the thing was, I was always planning to go back to America, and it was very late on in the summer where I decided I'm not going back. So by the time that happened, everything was kind of
everybody was signed up.
And to be honest with you, I was just like, I'll just stay at home for a year, see what happens, and I actually got a job and just stuff like that. And you know, it was like a crossroads in my life. It's like, what do I do? Do I just stay here and play? It's easy. I'm picking up money and get a job, or, you know, do I actually make a go of this again?
So you decided to make a
but
go at it again, or I guess it was you did really well, so that's when you decided to make a go at it again.
absolutely.
So after that
Absolutely,
year,
yeah.
you get 54 points in 17 games, and that's, you said, the south part of Scotland, but you
Yeah.
after that year signed with Belfast, or what do you sign after that year?
No, I went to Belfast. I went to Belfast. I went as basically a young guy to develop and kind of get to know the elite league level again and stuff like that. But
Is the
the
GM
team,
Todd Kelman? It says he played 12 games that year. Was he the
he
guy that
was,
signed you?
yeah, yeah, great guy, great guy. But yeah, like I went as a young guy. To be honest, that year the team wasn't very good, and you know they made a lot of changes, and you know I think that at that stage they didn't have time or to kind of develop anybody as such and have patience, and you know it was just one of those things.
So
So
yeah, you only played 19 games that year. You played 12 with Belfast, then you played 7 with the Chelmsford Chieftains. Where's that?
yes, that was in the EPL at the time. That's down near London. So when I left Belfast, I kind of had a deal in place that I had to go to Chelmsford. But when I signed in Chelmsford, I really didn't want to go. I really, really didn't want to go, and I just didn't want to be there. To be honest with you,
You can't play well when you're like that.
no, because I had offers to stay in the elite league, but because I had already signed that deal, I kind of felt obliged I had to go, and I got to Christmas time, and I was like, I am coming home. I don't want to do this anymore, sort of thing.
And so that year you did end up going home around Christmas then?
I did, yeah, I did. I just went back to Solway.
Oh, okay. So then you don't play the rest of that season. So then
I
the
played
next
that season. Yeah, go on, sorry.
so okay, you start in Belfast, 12 games, then you go to Chelmsford for 7 games, and then you head home.
Yeah, yeah, and I finished the season in Solway.
Okay, because then is it the next year you play 48 games and score 50 goals and 109 points?
Yeah, that was in Solway again. Yeah,
So then do you start then you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this again?
yeah. Well, yeah. I was, believe it or not, I was actually in Blackpool on a team diet, like team weekend away, and Scott Neil phoned me. He's like, "Oh, do you fancy coming up to Edinburgh?" I'm like, "Mate, I'm absolutely hammered right now. Can I phone you on Monday?" He's like, "Yeah, that's fine." Um, and then I went up and met him like a few weeks later, and like I'm not being funny, I was fat. Like I was like 3 stone overweight. I was huge.
What's 3
And he met
stone?
a lot of pounds. Probably I don't know. Like I
I
couldn't
got
even
fat
say.
a few times in my career, man. If you want to talk fat, you should
Oh,
have seen
mate,
me after my knee surgery. Holy moly.
I couldn't even see my feet. I was like, right, okay. So he kind of looked at me. And I was like, yeah, yeah. So I went and you know I signed in Edinburgh, and Edinburgh's a great place for a young British player to go and play because you just play.
And there's no back then they were supposed to be at the bottom of the table, right? And you could
Yeah.
just go out and play. And I remember playing them. There wasn't much defensive structure for a lot of times,
Oh,
but
absolutely not.
they were just playing.
Yeah, just have fun. You know, Edinburgh's a great city. Just have fun. You know.
And did you?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and you know what? Players that are having fun tend to play well sometimes, right?
Oh,
And your
absolutely. Yeah, of
first year,
course.
you
Yeah.
get 15 points. Your next year, you're an assistant captain, and you're almost a point a game player as a British guy, like we talked about, 3rd British scorer in the league.
Yeah, yeah. I played with 2 imports. They just let me play.
Yarlin and Hartman.
Yep. Yep. Just go and play. Just go and play. And it was honestly for me, it was great. Just no care in the world. You could be dash 5 but score for 3 points and just like, yeah, you're fine. You've done your job. I say, all right, perfect.
Really? That's no fun though for me. I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, we were bomb. Like we finished bomb, but they didn't like see.
Did that Hartman play in Weisswasser in Whitewater, Germany?
Oh, I have no. Yeah, potentially.
I feel like I played against him there, and then I saw him again later in Edinburgh, but who knows?
Yeah, like
but that year you would have been feeling pretty good about yourself. You're getting 47 points as a Brit. I think it was almost 20 goals too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I had a great season. I really did. You know, I just played. I just played well, and I played
Who
kind
was
of
the
free.
coach? Was he a
Loose.
player coach?
Hartman
Yeah,
was a
that's what I
player
thought.
coach.
Yeah. So he'd put you guys out there a lot if you're on his line, eh?
Absolutely, power play, you name it. It was just great, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Okay, so that year happens. You guys have some fun. Do you have a bunch of young Brits then there with you?
Not really. A few local guys. They knew all this good spots, so they helped the guys out. You know, but you would go
But
out.
you didn't
You
grow
would
up
go out.
that far from there, right?
No, it was only about an hour and a half, an hour. So it was really handy, to be honest with you. I mean, like I said, you'd go out and have fun every night of the week, and like nobody cared, nobody said anything. Yeah, just go and have fun.
Yeah, nobody would know about the hockey team in Edinburgh really when you go out either, right?
No, absolutely not. Nobody knew who you were.
Okay, so then after that year, then you get the deal in Cardiff, right? And you're like, okay, I'm doing her now, right? You're out of Edinburgh,
Yeah,
the smaller budget, and you go to Cardiff. That you must have been pretty jazzed.
yeah, absolutely. Can I pause you for 2 seconds? My wee man's having an absolute meltdown here. Is that okay?
Oh, 1 second. We'll
Just,
just hit pause right now.
yeah, just pause 2 seconds. The wee man's having a night.